Are you ready to do some buy, sell, hold?
Sure am.
All right. So as I mentioned before, not doing a void this week. It's just, just want to get into some buy, sell holds because I think it's harder to avoid certain players at this time of the year. So we're going to scratch that one for this go around. Just give you the buys, the sells, and the holds, forgive me. So what I did was I broke this down into 4 different categories. I have quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. I didn't want to mix positions. I wanted to kind of streamline this. I do have trade values for all of these players. So make sure you're listening carefully for the trade values. And these trades were all done, okay, on October 13th, the day before we recorded this. All trades are courtesy of fantasycalc.com. It's my preferred site. And these are all set to a 12-team Superflex 1-point PPR. So full point PPR, no tight end premium. This is just kind of, I guess, what you could call your standard Dynasty League, right?
Yeah.
We could agree on that one?
Yep. 1 point per reception.
Yes. There you go. So, Nate, let's kick it off with everyone's favorite position, the running backs. We got 3 great running backs here for you. All right. These are all running back ones, top 12 running backs. The first running back, Kyren Williams, currently running back 9 on the season, 101.3 fantasy points, 16.9 fantasy points per game, running back 12 on Keep Trade Cut. Achane, you're running back 4 on the season, 123.5 fantasy points, 20.6 fantasy points per game, currently running back 6 on Keep Trade Cut. And the third running back, Ashton Jeanty, who's running back 11, 91.7 fantasy points, 15.3 fantasy points per game, and currently running back 3 on Keep Trade Cut. So, Nate, we're going to find out if we buy, sell, hold these players. Let me give you some trade values.
All right.
Trade values here. Kyren Williams, 4. Caleb Johnson and a 26 first. Achane's trade value is Achane for 2 26 first round picks. And Ashton Jeanty's trade value, Ashton Jeanty for Malik Neighbors and a 27 fourth round pick. So it's a 4th rounder 2 years away. Nate, we're going to kick it off to you. We'll start with you. Who are you buying? Who are you selling? Who are you holding? And why?
All right. Well, you made it hard, but
Look,
also not too hard because
I specifically tried to make this a little more difficult when I was looking at these trades. I wanted them to just, I didn't want to be like, oh, it's a no-brainer. I wanted you to have to think a little bit about this. So, and plus I put a good grouping of players together for all 4 of these groupings. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's interesting because on Keep Trade Cut, these guys are all not right next to each other in the positional rankings, but they do all kind of feel like, what are we doing with these guys? I am buying Achane for 2 first-round picks. I think his upside on a week-to-week basis is immense. Tyreek Hill's out right now, so you have a really, really good runway for the rest of the season. I think he's got plenty of production left in his career after this year as well. I am selling Kyren Williams. So surprising that I'm selling Kyren Williams, a day 3 running back who's not athletic. I just struggle. I can admit I really struggle to draft and buy day 3 running backs who don't test well. And because of that, I do get screwed. I have to admit, I get screwed sometimes. I don't have any Kyren Williams. I don't have a lot of Chase Brown. And this year, I don't have a lot of Cam Scatterbill. So there are misses there. There are guys that, come through. But statistically, if you're a day 3 running back, I think you need to be athletic. And maybe I need to go look at my approach with that this offseason. But with selling Kyren Williams, I quite honestly, I don't really like buying Caleb Johnson in a first. I would ask for Trey Henderson in a first. If we're looking at rookie running backs who are disappointing, I would much rather put my stock into Trey Henderson than Caleb Johnson. And I think that's somewhat close enough. That's who I would be looking for if I was selling Kyren Williams. And then I'm holding Ashton Jeanty. I can't move him. He's RB11 so far in the season. He's RB1, and he hasn't even been that great yet. The Raiders are not very good. Hopefully they get better. If you've noticed the snap counts, Dante Thornton was playing a lot, and Jack Beck was not. Flipped this week. Jack Beck ran a ton of routes. I think it was like 80% of the routes. Dante Thornton ran none of the routes. So Jack Beck's going to be out there. blocking out of the slot because he was a former tight end at LSU. Things are going to be better for that running game, I do think, moving forward. So I am buying Devon Achane, selling Kyren Williams, and holding Ashton Jeanty.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. So mine are pretty much all value based for the most part. I'm going to buy Kyren Williams. Look, I do think Caleb Johnson after this year will have a clearer path to more playing time than he does right now. Obviously, Kenneth Gainwell there is ahead of him on the depth chart. And then they have Jalen Waddle. These guys could both be gone next year. They could bring them back as well. But I think if that doesn't happen, Caleb Johnson has a good path. That being said, I'm okay with giving him up right now to try to win a championship. And when you're bringing in almost 17 fantasy points per game, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to sell Devon Achane, and that's just because I don't really trust the Miami Dolphins. I understand that Devon Achane is putting up a lot of points, getting a lot of touches. He's not a big guy, and I'm always concerned about injuries with him, and that team is just bad. Who knows? They might at some point be like, look, we're not going to make the playoffs. Let's give some of these other, maybe Jalen Wright starts getting more carries because they want to save Devon Achane, not hurt him for next year. It's always possible. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold Ashton Jeanty. Where you just drafted him, the 101, 102, depending on the league. I think it's too soon to give up on him. And like you said, he's starting to come along. He has not played his best football in the NFL yet. I think he can help you win a championship, not just this year, but in the future. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with paying Malik Neighbors and a 27-4.
I am as well.
Yeah, Ashton Jeanty.
And I wouldn't trade Ashton Jeanty for Malik Neighbors because, number one, he's not helping me this year, and Jeanty is. And if I'm a rebuilding team, I still probably would rather have Jeanty and just not have the guy coming off the injury. Neighbors has had actually quite an injury-filled short career so far. He was nursing like 3 different injuries when he's out for the season. But I will say, if I could move Ashton, if I had good running back depth and I could move Ashton Jeanty for Jackson Smith-Njigba, that guy is going off right now.
Yeah.
And I would consider that.
I thought about putting him on this one, but we did him last time. We had him on here last time. I should correct that. We did buy, sell, hold, avoid. So I don't want to put him on again. But JSN, 21.5 fantasy points per game right now. So that's a good one too. That would be if someone's like, listen, I want Ashton Jeanty, I'll give you JSN. I'm going to respond to the person and go, I'm not saying no to you right now. I just think this over a little bit before I pull the trigger. But yeah, that's one that's really going to make you think.
Yep.
Nate, are you ready to talk some quarterbacks?
Always ready to talk quarterbacks.
All right, let's do it. Justin Herbert, quarterback 8, 111.2 fantasy points, 18.5 fantasy points per game. He's your quarterback 6 on Keep Trade Cut. I do want to say as well, I like to put Keep Trade Cut rankings and current seasonal rankings on here as well. I just think it's a good way to help you get an additional value on these players. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, looking back to his form, he's quarterback 1 on the season, 148.8 fantasy points, 24.8 fantasy points per game. He's quarterback 8, Keep Trade Cut. And Nate's favorite offseason buy now player, Dak Prescott, quarterback 3 on the season, 126.5 fantasy points, 21.1 fantasy points per game, quarterback 16 on Keep Trade Cut, which is absolutely insane. In case you're wondering, we got the quarterback 1, quarterback 3 on here. Quarterback 2 on the season, just so you know, Josh Allen, 137.3 fantasy points, 22.9 fantasy points per game, just in case you were wondering who is in there. So, Nate, would you like these trade values here?
Let's hear them.
All right. For Justin Herbert and Javonte Williams for Bo Nix, a 27 first and a 28 second. Patrick Mahomes for a 26 first and a 28 third. That was one of the better ones I could find. Some trades for Patrick Mahomes were just either really bad, and I'm like, please veto, or just there's like 18 players on there, and I'm not doing that. And Dak Prescott for Kyler Murray, a 28 second and a 28 third. So, Nate, do you want to go ahead and kick this one off for us as well?
Yep. I am buying Dak Prescott as you said, one of my favorite buys. I am selling Justin Herbert and I am holding Patrick Mahomes. But I will say, if I can get Patrick Mahomes for a 26th first and a 28th third, I'm buying Patrick Mahomes. I think you need at least 2 firsts. I think 2 firsts and a third is what Patrick Mahomes is at least. Um, so I'd be interested to see some more trades on Mahomes, but I do think people are still kind of down on him. But he's getting Rashee Rice back this
Yep.
week, and Xavier Worthy has been dealing with injury. He'll be healthy at some point here soon, and Mahomes has been scrambling a lot. So I mean, they're doing it, and they're down in games. They're not that they were blowing people out of the water last year, but he's having to put the team on his back. So he's scoring lots of fantasy points, as we can see. I am buying Dak because Dak just constantly outperforms his value year in, year out. As long as he's healthy, he constantly does better. And he's currently quarterback 3 on the year with not even having CeeDee Lamb the last couple of weeks. So CeeDee Lamb coming back pretty soon. I'm not sure if it'll be this week or next week, but there's no reason Dak Prescott can't continue to be a top 5 quarterback the rest of this season. George Pickens has looked incredible in his time there. So they're going to continue to throw the ball. I am selling Justin Herbert. Quarterback 8, pretty good, but the Chargers, they're not quite as strong as I think I expected them to be this year. They are throwing the ball more, which is why he's quarterback 8 on the season and not, a high-end quarterback 2. But I think at quarterback 6 on keep trade cut, I think I can I'll take Bo Nix the first and the second. I'll take the extra pick and see what I can do. Nothing against Justin Herbert, but he's just not like the elite fantasy quarterback, but he's valued like just under that. He's like at the top of that next tier. So value-wise, I'm more than willing to usually sell that guy at the top of the tier and then buy someone at the bottom of the tier.
Yeah. We do have one that we agree on here, and I'll get to that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and buy Patrick Mahomes for a first next year and then a third.
Yeah, that's easy money.
Yeah, I'll gladly take that. And he's only 30, I believe. So the reality of the situation is you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, he's going to put up points for you. Even if he's only your quarterback 1 for the next, let's just say 3, 4, 5 years, he could slide into that quarterback 2 role for you perfectly. You draft a new guy, he comes in, he ascends. You still have a killer 1-2 punch for your starting quarterback and super flex quarterback spot. So I'm fine with just hanging my hat on Patrick Mahomes there. I'm going to sell Justin Herbert. And look, you're also coupling Javonte Williams with Justin Herbert. That's okay. Javonte Williams, his future is questionable after this year. Do the Dallas Cowboys resign him? I don't know. Do they look to upgrade? Javonte Williams, he's going to ascend the rest of the year too. Miles Sanders out the rest of the season with, I believe, an ankle injury. So Jadon Blue. So hopefully you can fire him up at some point. If you have him, I have a couple shares of him. But to get Bo Nix, a player that I do really believe in, a 27 first and a 28 second on top of that, I'm okay with that. I think this is a trade where even if you're a fringe playoff team, that's still going to help you. You're getting a good starting quarterback. You're also getting some draft capital back on top of it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold Dak Prescott. And my main reason for the hold on this was I don't know how much I really believe in Kyler Murray, to be honest with you. And if I'm trading away the current quarterback 3, even if I'm getting back Kyler Murray, I'm going to look up and see where Kyler Murray is right now. I want at least a first-round draft pick on top of him. Kyler Murray is currently quarterback 24, averaging 16.2 fantasy points per game. So you're losing 5 fantasy points a game and only getting a second and third on top of it. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to hold Dak Prescott. I'm going to throw him right into my starting lineup on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Nate, are you ready for some wide receivers?
Sure am.
All right. So we're digging down a little bit. My whole thought process with the wide receivers, and if you notice the guys that I'm putting on here, they're kind of grouped close together. I didn't want to put guys like, well, that's for all the groupings, by the way. I'm not going to put like Jamar Chase and Keyshawn Boutte in the same category here because then it makes it, you pay up for them.
2 touchdowns for Boutte, though.
Hey, you know what? He's surprising me a little bit.
Same.
But we're going in the 20s here, Nate. So Nico Collins, wide receiver 29, 70 fantasy points, 14 fantasy points per game. He's wide receiver 12. Keep trade cut. Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver 26, 71 fantasy points, 11.8 fantasy points per game, wide receiver 13. And Chris Olave, wide receiver 21, 78.2 fantasy points, 13 fantasy points per game, wide receiver 32 on Keep Trade Cut. Okay, so that is our grouping here. Would you like their trade values?
Would love them.
All right, we have Nico Collins for Jackson Dart, Brian Thomas Jr. for Tet McMillan, and Chris Olave and a 26th first for Emeka Egbuka. Nate, kick us off.
All right. I am buying Nico Collins.
Okay.
I love this guy. I know that the offense for the Texans wasn't very good to start the year. I think Nico Collins is still one of the best wide receivers in the league. What he does at the catch point, with getting open, with after the catch, I mean, he does everything that you want an elite wide receiver to do. I think he's, like I said, I just think he's one of the best. And I'm sorry, I'm not a Jackson Dart fan. Even a couple games into his career, guy is kind of goofy. He's got Will Levis vibes to him, with just doing random crap on the field, like doesn't even know where he is sometimes. I love that he's just like a gamer. Like he just goes there, he just wants to play football. Him and Cam Scatabo, they're like, a match made in heaven, it feels like. The media loves them, but I just don't have a good feeling for it long term. But we'll see. I mean, Jackson Dart, it's his career all ahead of him. He can do whatever he can do. I'm going to be selling Chris Olave, and it's in this interesting trade we got here. Chris Olave and a first for Emeka Egbuka. I don't think I could do it. Egbuka's just too good right now. Value-wise, I really don't think it's too far off, just from a value standpoint. But from me trying to win my fantasy football games, I just couldn't do it, I don't think. It is very interesting. Chris Olave, very interesting case study right now. Top 5, I believe, in targets on the year. I mean, he's just getting a ton of volume, but he is doing very little with it. And I don't think it's like his fault. I don't think Chris Olave is a bad wide receiver. Spencer Rattler, though, hasn't been that bad. But I just think that they're kind of an inefficient offense as they're still trying to figure things out. And then I am holding on to Brian Thomas Jr., who I still think is a very good wide receiver. I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jags team are getting better under Liam Cohen. I think that they are gelling and improving, and they could get really hot at the end of the season. But Brian Thomas Jr., he's definitely been a little weird. Dropped some passes he really doesn't need to. It has been weird. I think it's going to get better, though. I think it's just kind of a sore moment. I do like this trade, though, for Tet McMillan. I'm a big Tet McMillan fan. I was really happy to see him get 2 touchdowns. I'm talking about him last week. But still, I do have Brian Thomas Jr. over him, I think, at the moment. They're very close, though. It's very close. So I could kind of go either way. But I don't think I can get rid of Brian Thomas just yet.
Okay. So I'm going to have to explain myself here because mine might seem a little wonky. Just bear with me, okay? And it really helps when there's trade value so I can explain myself. I'm going to buy Chris Olave, but I have to explain to you my next one so you understand Chris Olave, okay? I'm going to sell Nico Collins, and here's why. If I have Jackson Dart, I'm not selling him for Nico Collins straight up. I understand you may not be the biggest Jackson Dart fan, but the fact of the matter is he is a franchise quarterback. And even though teams move on from franchise quarterbacks quicker, when you're in the middle of a season and it's being told that this is the guy, you can get more for him than the guy who's currently wide receiver 29. So I don't think that right now, in August before the season started, this would have probably been a really good deal. But right now on October 14th is not a good deal. If I'm selling Jackson Dart and Nico Collins is the return, it needs to be Nico Collins plus for a starting quarterback in a super flex league.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Holding Brian Thomas Jr., I still believe. And, I as much as I don't want to give up Emeka Egbuka, I really don't. You're still getting a guy who we've all loved, Chris Olave. When the Saints figure it out, this guy could be a top 15 wide receiver. Okay, we've seen the talent. We've seen what he could do. You're getting a first on top of it. So I had to kind of go back and explain my logic here between all 3 of them. So,
I understand that. And I think, just to continue to give context, in the back of my mind, I still, whenever I value Chris Olave, I cannot shake the fact that he's had those concussions.
Right.
And just seems a bit more fragile than some of these other players. because one more concussion for Chris Olave could be a career ender. And at any point, anyone could have a career injury. So it's not like he's, a ton more, prone than anyone else. But that little bit, it's in the back of my mind when I value him.
Yeah, completely understood. Nate, let's go to my favorite position in fantasy.
The best position.
The best. Tight ends. You're telling me tight ends don't matter.
I'm sitting here in like a 1 quarterback league, no tight end premium, and I have like 5 starting tight ends on my roster. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, man. I just love
you can flex tight ends too. And I'll tell you what, if you paid attention, if you're in Scott Fishbowl, and you paid attention to the scoring, and I just loaded up on tight ends, it's working. So I started Dallas Goedert in SFB. I think he got 53 points.
Nice.
We're going to talk about him in a second. So we have Sam LaPorta, who's your tight end 6, 70.4 fantasy points, 11.7 fantasy points per game. Tight end 5 on Keep Trade Cut. We have Jake Ferguson, your tight end 1. I have been telling you to buy Jake Ferguson. No one listens. 98.5 fantasy points, 16.4 fantasy points per game. Tight end 7 on Keep Trade Cut. And Dallas Goedert, tight end 4, the only part of the Eagles passing game that's working. 78.3 fantasy points, 15.7 fantasy points per game. Tight end 17. He has missed a game this year due to injury. So those are our groupings for tight ends. Let me give you some trade values. Nate, Sam LaPorta, Travis Hunter, and a 26th first for Brock Bowers. Jake Ferguson straight up for Colston Loveland. And Dallas Goedert for a 26 second and a 26 third. Nate, kick us off.
All right. I will be buying Sam LaPorta.
Okay.
I will be selling your guy, Dallas Goedert. Sorry about that. And I'll be holding on to Jake Ferguson. I like Sam LaPorta a lot. He was one of my offseason buys in a couple of my leagues. I was very happy to get him after kind of a down year last year, and Ben Johnson left, so people got scared. This trade that you have here is it's a lot to take in. Sam LaPorta, Travis Hunter, and a first-round pick for Brock Bowers. I think I'm getting enough on top of LaPorta to move Brock Bowers, so I'm pretty happy getting all of this. And if I, try to take this value into what is just Sam LaPorta worth, seems like someone I'd be willing to buy right now, especially because looking at the Lions' second half of the season, they end their season. This is something I've been looking at with GMO. I think Jameson Williams is going to be a really good buy low, even though he had a pretty good game against Kansas City. He did have a touchdown. He's kind of disappointed overall in the season so far. But I think JMO is going to be a really good buy if you're a contending team, because weeks 12 through 17, so the last, I believe, 7 games of the season, the Detroit Lions play 5 of those games at home, 2 of those games away. Now, Jared Goff is a totally different quarterback in a dome and not in a dome.
For sure.
He's a very good quarterback in a dome, and the offense just hums when he's in a dome. Those last 7 games, 5 of them at home in a dome. The 2 away games, one against the Vikings in a dome, and the other in LA in a dome. So the last 7 games of the season, of your fantasy football season, the Lions are playing in a dome. JMO is going to be going well. Sam LaPorta, I think, is also going to be going quite well, and he's already tight end 6 on the season. I'm selling Dallas Goedert. I don't love a second and a third round pick. I think he should probably be worth more than that. But he's still very undervalued. I hate selling him, to be quite honest, but I don't think I can sell Jake Ferguson because he's just tight end 1 right now. And I have more question marks about the Eagles passing offense than I do the Dallas Cowboys passing offense. So if I'm going to bet on one of those, it is going to be the Cowboys. So I'm going to bet on Jake Ferguson. I'm going to hold Jake Ferguson.
And I want you to know, if the Lions get home field advantage and win out, the Super Bowl is in Santa Clara this year. He's a California guy, so he'll be good to go, Jared Goff.
Yeah, he will be.
So, all right, let me give you mine. I'm going to go ahead and buy Dallas Goedert. I just think if you need a tight end, if your guys aren't working for you for a second and third, I'm okay paying that. But if I'm selling him, I want more than that. I'm going to sell Sam LaPorta because I'm holding Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson has just been the absolute stud that I knew he could be. And I do think if you're selling Sam LaPorta, I do think it's a lot, but you are getting Brock Bowers. My end goal there is that hopefully Pete Carroll won't be the coach of the Raiders after this season. I've never been a guy that, when a coach retires or gets fired and he's out of it for a year or two, I just don't think he should come back. Sean Payton obviously doing a good job with the Broncos, but I think when you're done, you should just be done. It's at some point it's
I don't,
time to turn over to new guys.
I don't know if I'm out on Pete Carroll yet. I don't think he goes after 1 year either. I think he gets at least a second year to see what he can come up with because Gino's just been so bad.
He has been bad.
Gino's been so bad. I mean, I think the Raiders have to give Pete Carroll another chance with a different quarterback before they decide to move on.
Maybe they'll sign Russell.
Unless Pete's just like, hey, I'm done.
He could be. He's got to be pushing 70, right? Or is 70?
Yeah, I mean, at least Pete Carroll. Let's see real quick. Pete Carroll age, 74 years old.
Why?
It's been around the block.
Yeah, just, dude, these coaches.
Man, these guys, the best coaches, man, all they want to do is coach. All they want to do is coach. They don't want to do anything else. They go home and they're retired or they're fired and they sit at home twiddling their thumbs. They go fishing and they're like, this sucks. I want to coach football.
I guess.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching this Dynasty Rewind video. And thanks for being here. All your support over the years. Hope you enjoyed it. Did you agree with our buys, sells, and holds? Like I said, we skipped the avoid this time. Just want to really focus on the buying, the selling, and the holding. Anyone can buy or sell a player, but it's the holding that really does it. Let me know if you got that reference. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It always helps. Hit the like. Drop a comment. I try to respond and reply to every comment that I can. Sometimes I get busy, so if I don't, I'm not ignoring you. I do the best I can. Check out Patreon, patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind. If you want that bonus content, you could also become a member of this YouTube channel. Any bonus pods or anything like that, we drop it on the members only for the YouTube as well. And if you just want the bonus pods for audio only, again, I drop that over on Spotify. You can be a Spotify member. I believe it is $3.99 a month. So any bonus pods that we do, you get that there as well. Until next time, everybody, thank you for watching.